You would think that he would harbor an ill will towards me for that. Nothing of that sort. When he became division director, he said that, okay, this year I'm going to do something. It did not work out. And he said, I'm again going to try it. And he became a division director for the second time. That is the level of commitment this person has. And if that is not commitment, I don't know what is. So it is my proud privilege that I call on stage Rupinder Singh.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster DTM Rupinder Singh. Actually, it's actually a morning that belongs to him. I don't know how he has this art of giving back to people that has got into his life. So he touches lives wherever he goes. He impacts life. He does not only touch life, he impacts life. And it's my honor and a privilege of rubbing my shoulders with a person like him. It's an absolute privilege today that he has taken out time. Let me tell you, he is an absolutely committed and a busy man. He is a corporate trader. He is a professional speaker, and he gets paid for all those things. So taking out time on a Saturday morning, doing it voluntarily, speaks volume about his commitment today. So if he has given out time for us today, let's make the most out of it. And people on air, I would like to welcome you to this conference today. It's an event of its own magnitude. We have the district champion who has represented us at the World Champion of Public Speaking. He stood uh, first runner-up in the semifinals of World Champion of Public Speaking. So it's a humongous event, and it's a privilege and an opportunity for all of us to make the most out of this opportunity. And we need to learn his tricks. I'm sure he will give out his tricks. That's not a problem. It's our own commitment and responsibility that we learn his tricks. So without further ado, I would not come in between you and your learnings. So please put your hands together and bring down the roof for DTM Rupinder Singh.
Thank you. I usually start my presentations like this. You know why? So that actually, I believe there are three types of people who come to a training. The first one are the prisoners, people whose managers push them go to a training. Then there are the picnickers. Yeah, we'll just have fun today. And then there are the performers who really want to learn something. And today, if there are prisoners amongst you, I hope to make picnickers out of them. If there are picnickers amongst you, I hope to make performers out of them. That is what my aim is today. And I usually start with my presentations in this mode so that you guys get to see this number over here, which is slide 1 of 43. Yeah, this torture is going to last for 43 slides. And if at any point you feel like throwing a brick at me, please don't do so. It is not polite to throw bricks at people. Different matter, you won't find a damn brick in here also. So get it right. Let's construct a speech. And my first question to you, and this is going to be an interactive session, so be with me, be ready with your answers. Why? Why do you want to give a speech? Answers. Amit, why do you want to give a speech?
I feel that I have some story in me which I want to disseminate to the.
You have a story that you want to share with the audience. Okay. Any other purpose of giving a speech?
Dissipate my fear among the public.
Okay, you want to dissipate your fear that you have. You want to get rid of your fear of getting on a stage and speaking. Okay, good enough. Neha. To inspire people. Okay, finally somebody is getting close. What about you?
I love storytelling.
You love storytelling. Your name is?
Mansi.
Hi, Nancy. Why do you want to give a speech? Why do you want to give a speech? Yeah.
I would like to connect with the people.
Connect with the people.
So that I can convey what I think.
Okay.
Appreciate that.
Okay, very good. How many of you have given interviews? Everyone, almost everyone has given interviews. You haven't given an interview yet? Apna time aayega. The point is that when you give an interview, what are you trying to do with the interviewer? You're trying to, if I'm interviewing you, are you going to impress me?
Yes, you're gonna sell yourself.
And interviews fail because people think that coming here on stage is about making an impression. It is not. If you come with the intent of making an impression, you will fail. 100% you will fail. Okay? The idea to give a speech, express yourself. Most of these slides, I'll create a PDF and I'll send it to you. So if you're going to write what is on the screen, it is not going to be of much effort. I mean, because you'll be getting it anyway. So the idea of giving a speech is to express yourself. How do you express yourself? How many of you?
Emotions into words.
Okay, and when do you put emotions into words? When you feel it. How many of you go party? How many of you know how to dance? Everyone knows. When you're dancing, you're expressing yourself. Exactly. You're expressing yourself. You're not impressing anyone. Okay. My 15-year-old kid, he turned 16 yesterday, by the way. Happy birthday, Anand. He turned 16 yesterday. He doesn't know how to dance, neither do I. But when he was about 5, I saw him trying to dance. And he didn't care that if anyone was looking at him or not. He was just expressing his happiness. And he looked better than the best dancer because he was trying to express himself. And the secret of expressing yourself when you come here on stage is not to be someone else. We all try to be someone else when we come on stage. We are two different people. I'm a different person down there. I am a different person up here. But if I am myself on stage, everything will fall into place. So the first thing that you want to do when you're giving a speech is to express yourself, to express your idea, to leave an impact. And once you express sincerely, you will begin to impress. That is what my guarantee is. Okay? Second thing. The first step to a speech is what do I speak about? Any topics in your head that you want to speak about? Anyone has any topic? You have a topic in your head? What did you give a speech about? Your experience of skydiving. Okay. Anyone else? You have a speech in your mind? A speech that you always wanted to give? Speech that you always wanted people to hear? If you had one last chance to speak and make sure that people remember you for it, what would it be?
Just do whatever you want to do in life.
Just do whatever you want to do in your life. Okay. That is the first step to writing your speech. What is your message? What is your message? So today I want you to perform the first step, and which is the most difficult step in preparing a speech. Think of a topic. What am I going to talk about? What is it? Why do I want the audience to listen to me? Second question. Third question, what do I want the audience to do after they listen to my speech? If you've got answer of these three questions, you will have the answer to why am I giving the speech. And as I often like to say, when the why is clear, the how will appear. Okay? So the first question is, what am I going to speak about? Second question is, Why am I speaking about it? Third question is, what do I want the audience to do once they've heard my speech? A lot of times, and this is the reason why table topics are difficult, because you are given a topic, you ask people to speak on it, and what happens? You have the message right there in front of you, but you don't know how to build a story around that message. And you have difficulties writing your speeches because you don't know what is the message that you want to give. Sometimes you want to give more than one messages. In a 5 to 7 minute speech, it is not advisable giving more than one messages. Sometimes you want to give no message at all. We sometimes think that in a human speech, a message can be avoided. Well, it cannot be avoided. Otherwise, it is a stand-up comedy routine. And stand-up comedies do not have messages. And it is not important for a speech to have message. A stand-up comedy is just like that. The sole purpose of that is to entertain. And if your purpose is to entertain, then you've got yourself a speech. But if you're writing a speech to express, then that speech needs to have a message. And keep on harping on the message. Because unless and until you don't have the answer to these three questions, that is to say, if you don't have a message, you don't have a speech. You don't have a message, you don't have a speech. Makes sense? First of all, I want you to write down that message. What is it that you're trying? I will time you for about 2 minutes to think of a message and answer these three questions. Everyone has a notepad and a pen?
Pad. Do we have an extra pad? We got.
Your time has started.
How do we see the participants?
There's an option.
I'll talk to Mukesh.
Or you can access it from your phone. You can access the same page from your phone.
No, that's not. But I'm not able to see participants. Anyhow, no.
Okay, I've set a clock on this. When it passes, that means your time is up. 3 questions. What are you going to talk about? Why do you want to talk about it? What do you want the audience to do after they listen to you? 3 questions.
What's the third? I'm sorry. What's the third?
What do you want the audience to do after they've listened to you? Okay, stop. How many of you were able to answer all 3 questions? Oh, great. 1, 2, 3, 4. All of you. Okay, let's hear your answers. Neha, let's start with you.
Starting with what I want to talk about, that is self-love. Why I want to talk about it because I feel it's lacking somewhere, and self-love is something that has helped me, and as I told, I want to inspire people audience to, after listening me, start doing it.
Okay. You want the audience to practice self-love
Yeah.
after you.
Yeah.
Okay. So to summarize, you want to talk about self-love.
Yeah.
You want to inspire people to self-love.
Yeah.
Okay. So that is your second answer to the second question. You want people to practice self-love.
Yeah.
Great. Remember this. What do you want to do?
I want to talk about my life experiences,
Mhm.
feelings.
Mhm.
So I want to talk about
Mhm.
and why I want to talk about
Mhm.
that. As I am a learner of, I am learning from the other experiences,
Mhm.
life experiences
Mhm.
that my others as well.
Okay.
I pay my contribution towards that.
Okay.
And what I want public is to take some gains from that and exchange in that.
Okay. The challenge with that is that is very generic. You want to nail it down. So, for example, she said self-love. Think along those lines. We'll come back to you. What did you write, Swami? You take out from the. Okay. Okay.
And why should the audience listen? Because we will do it,
Okay.
not allow them to realize their politics.
Okay.
And I want people to do the next thing.
So to summarize, you want to talk about overcoming fear. Number one, you want to overcome fear because you feel that is what is holding people back. So your purpose is to inspire people. And third thing, you're going to show them after this speech, they'll know how to overcome their fear. Is that what your purpose is?
No, I'm not showing them. I'm just encouraging them that you
Okay.
identify that
You're encouraging them to overcome their fear. Okay. They should feel that they also can overcome their fear. Great. Okay, great.
Yes. Third talk on that there is no shortcut in success.
Okay.
I want audience to know there is no right way of doing wrong.
Okay.
That I mean to say that to opt the right means, right way to reach to that success.
But why should they listen to you? Is the question. Why do you want to give this speech?
They should listen because there are examples where people opt wrong means to get a right goal
Mhm.
and they got wrong results,
Mhm.
which are results.
Mhm.
Therefore, it is very critical to opt a right means. When
Mhm.
I want to know that, I want audience to know that uh, the right, uh, uh, there is the opt right means
Okay.
to get a right goal.
Okay. Okay. So you basically want to tell them that there is the right way and that you want to,
Yeah.
you should be following it.
Yeah. Means should justify the end. It's saying that.
Ah, nice. Nice. Okay.
Right.
Connect with yourself and as you know, all three mental ways. When you connect with yourself, slowly and steadily you move towards your goal.
Mhm.
So luck is something where preparedness meets the opportunity.
Okay.
And that people implement.
Okay. Okay.
very topic is crisis create opportunity.
Mhm.
Meaning of that not discouraged with a failure in your life.
Mhm.
Take it as a learning,
Mhm.
take it as an opportunity,
Mhm.
and love the failure in your life. If you don't have failure, I think you will.
Okay. What about you?
My topic is for mainly for technical people.
Mhm. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
So my topic is the importance of art in technology.
The importance of
Art.
art in technology. Okay. Great.
So why should you are listening to this? Many of us we are not aware that we are still ruled by the art
Mhm.
and art in the form of music, in the form of like movie and all, and in the form of technology. The phone you are using, they are
Mhm.
the thing basically a piece of art.
Mm.
How the UI is designed,
Mm.
and the third part is why the audience should listen to it, so that they should recognize that this is a key potential that they can incorporate in their design approach. So these are the things that make a product instantly hit.
Okay.
Because if I say that we are all human and we feel connected with the emotions and experiences,
Mhm.
and art is the medium that creates a unique experience.
Mhm.
So user can be connected with
Cool.
the art.
Okay. You know, and I'm glad that you chose to deviate from the norm. You're going to write a speech, or you're going to write a speech around the art in the science. Is that correct? Your purpose is to inform the audience of its importance. And ultimately, you want the audience to appreciate the importance of art in science. This goes straight to usability, which in itself is a very big subject. I mean, why is pathways not working? The key issue is usability. And had it been designed a different way, it would have been made for a better user experience. Right? So thank you for sharing that topic. What about you?
So my topic would be around change, how to create change in easy manner,
Mhm.
and why this topic?
Mhm.
Because change is fast to growth and breaking the status quo,
Mhm.
and how I am qualified for this topic that I had done some changes, but in a very tedious manner or a very hard manner.
Mhm.
But along the way, I learned some of the things which can be done in an easy way. I want to share and inspire other people.
Okay. So you want people to become more aware of change, and at the end of your speech, you want them to accept change, not as a detriment, but as a part. Great. Just have a round of applause for yourself, first of all. I'll tell you why. Because you've done probably the most difficult thing in writing a speech. See, I'm a trainer, and it's one thing when you tell me to, okay, you come here and train a people on networking. My point is that what exactly on networking do you want to train them? You have to start with the end. That at the end of my training, people will be able to do something. Many times their speeches are like that. We have to start with the end in the mind. What do I want the people to do once my speech is over? And believe me, 90% of the time people don't know what they want the audience to do once the speech is over. Or they have got the wrong idea in the mind. For example, people who are contesting. Aim is to be the best speaker out of the 10 or 12 that are contesting. Now that is not the right aim. If your aim is to impress the audience so much that they remember your speech the moment you get off, it will not matter whether you come first, second, or third. When Muhammad Khatani gave his speech, The Power of Words, there was another speaker that day. That speaker spoke about child prostitution. It was a very moving speech. It was liked by many people there. So much so that when Muhammad Khatani won the prize, his daughter, Muhammad Khatani's daughter, walked up to him and said, I don't think you won today. The person who won is the person who gave that speech. That speech touched nerves, it touched hearts. I'm not saying Khatani's speech was not good. And by the way, these are not my words, these are Muhammad Khatani's words. He himself said this, that his daughter came up to him and said that his speech was much better than yours. To me, he is the winner. That is what you want to do with your speech. So the first thing that you do is that you craft a message, you come up with a message. And to come up with a message, you need to answer these three questions. What do I want to talk about? Why do I want to talk about it? And what is it that the audience should do once I'm done talking about it? So whenever you begin this speech, you first start with your message. Start with your message. Get into the habit of writing your message first. We have a habit of writing our opening. We have a habit of writing a body conclusion. We often miss out on the message. Trust me on this. When your message is clear, your speech will make itself. It will automatically write it. Okay. Now, everyone wrote a message. Everyone wrote what they're going to talk about.
Yes.
I'm forgetting your name. Archit. Have you come up with something that you want to talk about?
It's more towards my life experience. I don't say maybe.
A particular life experience that you can share with something from which there is a learning, perhaps?
Yeah, that too with my traveling
Mhm.
hobby. When I go new different places,
Mhm.
interact with new people
Mhm.
of different culture and religion.
Mhm.
That sort of
Okay. Okay.
including my speech.
Okay. Now, first, when you start with your message, next thing is to build the, what do you want to build? After the message. There are three parts to your speech: opening, body, conclusion. What do you want to build first? Okay, Neha, what were you speaking about? Self-love. Do you have some stories around self-love? Some anecdotes that you want to share? I mean, you must be reminded of a couple of stories immediately. The moment I say self-love. Or there's too many that you are having difficulty choosing? I'm coming to that. You were talking about overcoming fear. Do you have any experiences to share with it? Hang on. You wanted to talk about art, the art and the science. Do you have examples?
Yeah.
You have any examples?
Right.
From the message, the body appeared. What is it that you want to share? And that is going to be our next task. I don't want you to write the whole experience. I just want you to write a maximum of 3 experiences, stories, or anecdotes, learning, opinions, 3 of them. Self-help. One time when self-help, the first time I realized that I need to be my own self-help, when it was helpful for me, when I helped others, for example. 3 stories. You also know what to do. I mean, Facebook is an example in usability, right? LinkedIn, how to build in usability, right? 3 instances, overcoming your fear, for example. 3 instances, just in brief, 1 line. You don't have to construct a whole story right now. Just 3 instances. In 1 line, I'm going to talk about the time when. I'm going to talk about this thing. I'm going to talk about my opinion on this. 3 instances. Focus on the message. What is the message? What do you want the audience to do? What is the best story that will get you there? What is the best story that will get you there? Or the best top 3 stories? Sometimes you might have more than 1 story. You might have more than 3 stories. Write all of them down. I mean, don't write them down in their entirety. Just write a brief summary of them. For example, in my speech, Why Me? I said that I'm going to talk about my childhood, of how my brother got preferential treatment, and I will ask why me. I will talk about my college life, and I was dumped by my girlfriend. I'll ask why me, and I will talk about my professional life, where I got a horrible boss, and I said why me. Right? 3 stories. In reality, there were 8 stories. In reality, there were 8 stories. I chose the best 3 that would make an impact. Not more than 3 stories. And I'll tell you why not more than 3 stories. Ideally, it should be exactly 3 stories for a 5 to 7 minute speech. But everyone written down? Take your time, think about it, because you have to think about the 3 best stories. Any difficulty? You're done. Everyone done? Anyone still writing? Show of hands will work. I mean, if you're writing, just show your hand. That's okay. The Rupinder is still writing. Rupinder has a habit of writing his experiences with his dad. And today he'll add another Facebook story.
I have one already.
Yeah, so
I was already planning.
Yeah, dad.
You read
Teacher's
my
choice. Done? Everyone? Okay. Mark your stories for now. We will come back to them. So your body will contain what? Stories, anecdotes, experiences, your experiences, mind-contained experiences, incidents, some incidents that might have happened to you, your thoughts or your opinions, lots many other things. I just collated together the one of them, some of those that are the most common. Okay, can be combination of this, can be a story, an experience, and your opinion. Can be 2 stories, 1 opinion. Can be an anecdote, a story that you might have heard somewhere before. We'll come back to questions. If you can park it, just write your questions down. In the end, we'll have a question and answer session. I'll come back to this very slide and we'll again, because your question might get answered in between. Okay. So ready? So you've written your stories. Now you need to add an opening and a conclusion. How do you add an opening and a conclusion? This is where one of the most celebrated principles in training design or instructional design or content writing, as we call it, at its very basic level comes in. And that principle is arts. ARCS, arts. Where A stands for attention, R stands for relevance, C stands for confidence, and S stands for satisfaction. Okay. Your opening is attention. I'll come to explaining arts, but your relevance and confidence are your body. And finally, your conclusion is what gives satisfaction. Every presentation you give, every sales pitch you make, every interview question you answer, every quiz you take, every subjective answer you give, every opinion you state has these 4 stages. First, you gain attention. Number 1, you gain attention. Then you establish the relevance. Then you build confidence. And finally, you deliver satisfaction. Okay? You go and watch a movie. There's an attention phase, relevance. The relevance is already there because you bought a ticket, you spent money on it. Confidence. It'll go high or it'll go low. Either movie was good or it was bad. And you'll come out feeling satisfied or not satisfied. Every experience you go through your life can be classified in terms of arts. Did it get my attention? If it did not, it would not exist. Was it relevant? Which is to say, was it a productive use of my time? Was it not a productive use of my time? Am I confident in that person? Yes or no? And did I leave satisfied? Okay. Now, When you teach kids, you focus more on attention. Kids will learn only when they find something interesting. This is when the audience becomes important. Adults, on the other hand, will learn only when they find it relevant. Adults will learn only when they find it relevant. That's the second basic principle in learning and development, by the way. Why am I telling you all this? Because all of this opening body conclusion ties into the arch model: attention, relevance, confidence, satisfaction. Now, how do you get attention when it comes to a speech? What did I just do? What did I just do? What did I do? I asked a question. Attention. I got attention. Okay. I'm going to take a brief diversion from here. I'm going to show you something. Now watch what happens. This is Mohammed Katani, The Power of Words. The Power of Words, Mohammed Katani. What? What did he do?
You did something
Did you
which was
expect him to come on stage and light a cigarette?
no.
Technically, he never lit that cigarette. So, another one. Hiriarati, I see something. I see something. Dharajaya Hiriarati. Now watch what happens. You and I'm not very different from this flower. Takes out a flower, smells it. Okay? Takes out a flower, smells it. The flower is there. If you were in the audience, you might have an idea that probably he's going to do something with that flower. It's a humongous flower. It's not a flower that you typically keep in your coat pocket, but it's there, right? Or you might not have any idea. He'll come on stage and he'll do something, but nothing with the flower. Again, that is grabbing attention, getting attention. That do I have your. There is another way of getting attention, and this is where most people most often fail. Okay, Dipinder, just come on stage and give me a topic, and once he gives me the topic, everyone will start clapping. So Rupinder, topic, Rupinder, and everyone will start clapping. Dipinder, just come on stage and give me the topic.
Rupinder Singh, I am my own product. I am my own product. Rupinder Singh.
I am my own product. What did I do? What was the mistake that I was making? You guys were applauding. He did not have time to get back to his seat. I started speaking. Probably I had an ulterior aim. I wanted to catch the timer unawares. Probably it was nervousness. I started speaking just as soon as I got the stage. The best way to get attention is wait for the applause to die down. Have a look at the audience. Take that deep breath, just as you are about to dive into a swimming pool, and then take the plunge. You want that room to be at absolute silence before you begin. And you do that by scanning the audience for half a second. One scan. until the noise drops down, and then you start. So we've looked at two possible openings. One is to do something which is unprecedented, such as lighting a cigarette. You guys are not going to do that unless one of you happens to be carrying a cigarette. That's one. Second is to ask questions. Third, startling fact. For example, I have a speech, Fat and Loving It. I started with, how many of you can eat a deep dish pizza, followed by a chocolate caramel smoothie, followed by a banana split, and still not feel guilty about it? Okay. Again, question, but a startling question designed to throw you off guard. Okay. The problem with asking such questions is that they have to be relevant. You can't be starting with a question which says that, did you know that an apple is a better antidote to sleep than coffee itself? And then you go about talking about something totally different, social media, for example. Right? It has to be relevant. So you need to have that opening. What is the best part about writing your body first? You will have your opening. Summarize your body. You summarize your body and make one crisp statement out of it. Create a question, create an experience, and then say that today, let me show you how. Basic structure. So let's say, for example, we are talking about, I am my own product. In my body, I decided to have, number one, I am a product of my deeds. I'm a product of my actions. I'm a product of my choices. And I am a product of my perceptions. Choices, actions, perception. CAP. Okay? Cat. Probably I'll demonstrate and verify. What is this I'm wearing? Cap. Right? This is not a cap. This is CAP. Choices, actions, perceptions. Okay? And you can ask Dipinder if he gave me the topic before. He did not. I made it up right now. Why did I do that? Because I constructed the body first. Which is why when I said that my deeds, I immediately corrected it to actions. Because choices and perceptions came in next. And I felt that it would form a nice acronym for me. So you build your opening from your body itself. The advantage is that when you lead from the opening to your body, it will be a very natural transition. It will not seem abrupt. Many times, judges mark you on the fact that either there were no transitions or the transitions were very abrupt. What are abrupt transitions? I stand here. I'm going to talk about apples. Now I'm going to talk about oranges. Now I'm going to talk about bananas. But it is abrupt. I know that the moment I said, now I'm going to talk about this, I'm trying to make an impression. I'm deliberately telling the judges that, hey, this is a transition. There is another fruit coming up. What they're looking for is a natural transition. They're not looking for a transition which is not there. They're not looking for a transition which is very explicit. They're looking for something just like a smooth flow. That makes sense? Everyone? So first, when you have your body in place, when you have your three stories in place, if you can summarize them and if you can create an opening out of them, and if you are having difficulty with that, I can help you right away. So anyone wants to share their three stories with me, or 3 anecdotes, the body part of the speech? Anyone? Yes, Mansi. I have difficulty remembering names. That is my biggest problem. Tell me.
Anecdotes that I have, the three things that I've noted down is language, that is English.
Mm-hmm.
Second is my interest in music.
Mm-hmm.
And third is a hobby, candles. These are candles,
So you've got candle, you've got music,
and I've got language, English.
and language. Okay. So you've got candle, you've got music, you've got English, which is conversation. Okay, I'm just generalizing it to a conversation. So you are having a conversation over a candlelight, and there is soft music playing. The idea of a date, a good time, right? You start your speech with imagine soft vibe, soft melodious music playing in the background. You sitting with your beloved or your significant other or someone you love or care for a lot. So over a candlelight dinner, right? You is an opening taking shape over here? Then you invert it. I'm here to talk specifically about the candles, the what were the other two?
Music and
The music
language.
and the language and the conversation, and why these are important to you. Is that a reasonable opening? Why I'm asking reasonable and not exact? Because I don't know what your story is. But I just constructed it. Okay, without even knowing what your story is. Right? And you have to get into the habit of forming an opening like that. Now, what about conclusion? Very quickly, I'm going to go to the end of Dhananjay's speech. So,
All of us have something special
he starts with a flower.
that makes us as good. Do you know what makes you special? When I look at you,
What is he ending with? What is he ending with?
You.
What is in his hand?
Flower.
He did not have that flower throughout the speech, by the way. I can prove that, although I don't need to prove that since everybody would have watched that speech.
personal assistant. And there he was.
Where is the
He
flower?
looked like a teddy bear.
Started with a flower, ended with a flower.
Completely different.
He started with a cigarette in hand. Oh, okay.
Let that be. Oh,
What did he do?
And it is.
He had a cigarette in his hand and he crushed it, closing the loop or reinforcement. Using the loop or reinforcement. So, in a sense, it is telling you the three steps in storytelling. Tell them what you're going to tell them, and finally tell them what you've told them. Mohammed, yeah, it's that simple. Tell them what you're going to tell them, and tell them what you just told them. Mohammed Katani, when he started his speech, it was with a cigarette. Went on to talk about many other things. Ended with a cigarette. That was the reinforcement. And that was tied into his speech. How was it tied into his speech? He opened with a cigarette and he gave a fact about a cigarette. And he said that, look, I just managed to impress you with a fact about a cigarette, but that fact was not even true. or it may or may not be true. And he closes it with a cigarette in his hand. You know what? It's the words that matter. That is the power of words. Things that I'm holding in my hand, they don't matter. The same thing was done by Dhananjay. Starts a speech with a rose in his hand. He says, I see something in you. And that rose personifies the phrase that I see something in you. I don't know what it is. He ends it with that rose in your hand. He says, I see something in you. Like this flower. Everyone is like this flower. At the beginning of his speech, he said that you and I are no different from this flower. That makes sense? Now, 2 minutes, write an opening and a conclusion. And I'll start the clock. You don't have to write the entire opening and entire conclusion, just a couple of lines. How am I going to open? How am I going to close? That's it. Okay, stop. Now, I'm going to give you another 2 minutes. And this is the easiest part. Club your opening, body, and conclusion together. Just write down a series of bullet points, starting with your opening, with your body, and your conclusion. The time starts now. Stop. Anyone who's still writing? Everyone is done? Okay. Now choose the one story in your body that you think will illustrate your point the best. You don't have to mark it, just put a tick mark or whatever you want to do, but just choose one story for now. Okay? Just choose one story for now. And I'll tell you why. Because it comes down to three words: ethos, logos, pathos. How many of you have heard of these words? Ethos, logos, pathos? Show of hands. Rupinder has heard of it, Mansi has heard of it, you've heard of it, Neha has heard of it. Ethos stands for integrity. What is the integrity that you bring to your speech? Logos is the logic that you bring to your speech or to your narrative. Pathos is the passion that you bring. Now, successful speeches that are designed to specifically leave an impression on the audiences have more than 60% passion. Speeches that impact audiences have more than 60% passion, which is why, if you go to corporates, storytelling is becoming the most sought after skill. There is a portion in Mohammad Katani's speech which is actually comical but at the same time tragic. I want to show it to you. It's when he talks about the environment. Yes, about global warming. Now, so why? Why are you throwing your life away? If the one person in the world that I care about the most doesn't care, then why should I? Before this. And one evening I got the phone call. Nonsense. It's a very serious issue. What? It could kill all of us. Because when you go home and you flip on the TV and you see a scientist trying to talk about global warming, it goes something like this. Ladies and gentlemen, as you can see from the graphs here, the statistics for 2014, it shows the water level is rising. This table shows that the monotoxic level in the third ozone layer is in a very alarming position. Do you get the picture? What is happening here? Do you get the picture of what is happening here? We're talking about a very serious issue, global warming. Global warming can wipe out the entire population. And yet, how many of us really give a thought when we turn on our air conditioners? How many of us really give a thought when we drive a vehicle? How many of us really give a thought when we use fossil fuels? Why? Is it our fault? The point is that that story was never told with as much passion. It was never told. Now, that scientist in that speech, he's not entirely out of place if he was giving this to a scientific community. His speech was based more on the logos part, the logic part. And that is for an audience which is a like-minded audience. In a group of scientists, that would be a very effective speech because they delve mostly in logic. But if you want to impress the world, you have to invoke passion. Now, let me tell you another story. In Africa, there is a lake. It's called Lake Como. Around 10,000 people live around that lake. It is a source of livelihood for them. Those, sorry, not 10,000, 10 million people. Those 10 million people are going to die a horrible death one day. You know why? Because at the bottom of that lake, the rock composition is such that carbon dioxide is continuously getting released into that lake. It's tons and tons and tons of carbon dioxide. Now, what happens when carbon dioxide gets released? Carbon dioxide doesn't dissolve in water normally, but at high pressures, it dissolves in water. At the bottom of the lake, there is high pressure. Carbon dioxide dissolves. Pretty much like a Coke can. When you open the fizz comes out, it's actually carbon dioxide getting released into the air. Okay? An earthquake might occur. It will upset that balance. All of that carbon dioxide is going to come rushing out. Two things are going to happen when it comes rushing out. One, there will be a massive tsunami. It's like the water bubbling over. Only it is tons and tons and tons of water that is going to bubble over. Tsunami is going to be the least of the problems. It's not even going to account for 1% of the population getting wiped out. The carbon dioxide that gets released into the air, because carbon dioxide is heavier than air, it will settle down. And when it settles down, people will be asphyxiated to death. They will suddenly feel their breath being taken away. They'll suddenly feel they are not able to breathe. And they will choke to death. It will be a slow, agonizing death for 10 million people. Do I have your attention? Do I have your attention?
Yes.
Are you feeling lucky that you are not living along that lake? Relevance. Do you find the story to be true? Confidence. Do you think something should be done about it? Satisfaction. By the way, there is something that was done about it. They dug two pipelines and they are pumping out carbon dioxide. Effectively, the same thing is happening, but the carbon dioxide is coming in controlled quantities. And it's getting released into the air at a manageable pace. Another advantage from that is that methane is also getting released, and that methane is being used for fuel purposes. Now, this is how the story about global warming should have been told, but it was never told like this. In the 1960s, when global warming started to happen, because it was never told like this, generations upon generations upon generations have chosen to neglect the planet that they are living on. And that is pathos for you. That is passion for you. In a few moments, I will be asking you to come on stage and deliver your speech. Make sure that it has more than 60% of passion. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Great. What was that again? How many of you like listening to songs? Any popular song these days? My kid loves to listen to Despacito. Okay, I don't understand a word of it. My kid, by the way, got 91% in his class 10 exams. Let's have a round of applause for him.
Congratulations, Anand.
I know. I actually asked him that, what are we going to do with so many marks? I mean, how are we going to explain to the tax department? I mean, where did we get so many marks from? Marks disproportionate to your known sources of studying effort. Anyway, he got 91%. The best part is that he scored 95 in Spanish. The better part is no one taught him Spanish at home. All that is his school effort. He's the highest scorer in his school. So he loves. That's what. What's important is, what is the one word that you recognize in that song? How many times does it come in the song? What is it called? When a phrase is repeated in a song, what is it called? It is called the ang or the chorus. It's called the chorus. Now, take any song, you will find that the chorus comes at an interval of less than 2 minutes. Less than 2 minutes. Why less than 2 minutes? Because, yes.
For that reiteration or reinforcement.
And that is the point of the slide, reinforcement, because human attention span more than 2 minutes when it comes to listening to someone speak on stage. Not more than 2 minutes. You need to have some sort of a reinforcement. Maybe you need to reinforce a key message. Maybe you need to ask a question. You need to perform an action, such as smoking a cigarette on stage, or talking about your son who's got 91%, and even you're wondering where the hell did he get it from, right? That reinforcement needs to be there. What is the best way to show your reinforcement? Coming from you started with your speech with that. Reinforce your message. Reinforce your message. If you listen to I see something, thank you, but if you listen to I see something in you, he says that almost at regular intervals. And in the power of words, though he does not say the power of words explicitly, he says that words matter over and over and over again. If you listen to Darren Lacroix and his speech, ouch, ouch keeps on happening over and over again. So you have to reinforce your key message throughout your speech. In a 5 to 7 minute speech, averaging 2 minutes, how many times do you get to reinforce your message? Maximum 3? I would say minimum 3. You reinforce your message minimum 3 times. More times you reinforce your message with a story, with an anecdote, with an experience, with a joke, with an opinion. More powerful your speech is going to be. Okay. So, how are you saying it? And perhaps this is the most important part. How are they listening to you? How do we listen to people who are ears? Yes. Great. Is that only one way of listening to people? How else can we listen?
Generally, we take the cues from the body language.
If I'm looking at you when I'm talking, then you can't afford to yawn. You can't afford to look at your phone. You can't pretend that you're taking notes. This is where body language comes in. Now, body language for a person on stage is important. What is more important is for that person to invoke body language in the audience. The audience should not be listening to you with their ears. They should be listening with their eyes. They should be listening with the sense of touch. Of course, you're not going to touch them. But if you're going up a mountain, and if you're at the top of a mountain and there is a blizzard happening out there, they should be shivering in their seats because they should be on the top of that mountain there with you. If you've come down a valley and you're wading across a river, they should feel what it is like having water up here, walking across a river. You need to create that experience on stage. How do you do that? You engage more than one senses, not just the sense of their hearing, but the sense of their sight, their imagination. In my speech, I spoke about a younger brother, and I specifically asked the audience, how many of you have a younger brother? And a lot of hands went up. I said, I pity you. So I tried to connect with them. Okay? I ran the risk of antagonizing the younger siblings, but I was there to present my case, and it went. I was able to carry it up. Okay, so make sure that they listen to you not only with their ears but with their eyes. The best way to do that is that you take a video of your speech, you listen to it with your eyes closed. If you're able to visualize what you are saying, golden. Then mute it and then watch it again. And through your expressions, if you are able to visualize, you're there. They should engage more than one senses. The more senses they engage, the better it will be for your audience. For example, how many of you can drive a vehicle? You can't drive. You refuse to drive with me to Chandigarh. No, you can't. Okay. So everyone knows how to drive. Remember the first time you learned to drive with a gear stick, what were you doing? You were literally looking down. First, second, third. Now do you look at your gear stick?
No.
It happens naturally. Right? Because another sense has come into play. Another sense came into play now. Okay? It's the same thing when you listen to a song. You like a song at that point. You like a song at that point. Right? Then you try to sing along with it. And somewhere that, in some cases, a misconception thinks that you are a great singer. And then you're stupid enough, like me, to go on stage and do a karaoke. And you realize that probably singing is not the career that you were looking for. Or maybe you get lucky and you realize that you're really good at it. And then it becomes second nature. The difference was the senses you were engaging. First, you were just engaging the sense of hearing. When you started singing, you engaged the sense of healing. And then you threw all caution to the wind and just went ahead with your sixth sense. But let me see how it goes, whether I'm able to sing or not. Do not look up videos of my karaoke, please. You will develop a newfound hatred for me. I can guarantee you. Okay. Rupinder, how much time do we have left?
We're going to do.
Okay. Great.
So,
We're going to take a break. I'll just, yes. After this slide, we will take a break. And then when we come back, I'll actually not after this slide, a couple of slides, more than a couple of slides. We'll take a break, but a break is coming. So just in case you're feeling sleepy or something, hold on to your horses. So your message is measured is what do you want them to remember once your speech is over? I'm asking this question to you very nicely. When I asked Mohammed Katani that, how do I make my speech impressive? He said, imagine you are stepping off the stage and you die. You die. How do you want the world to remember you? I had no intentions of getting off the stage and dying or dying on stage. But this is a nicer way of asking. What do you want them to remember once your speech is over? In Mohammed Katani's case, it was words. In Dhananjay Hetrachi's case, it was, I see something in you. My case, it was, why me? Okay. What is it that you want? And when I gave that speech, why me, in Agra last year, I did not know whether I would win or not. But there were people upon people upon people coming to me and saying that today you made a difference to my life. And for me, that was much better than whether I'll win or not. I didn't care whether if I won or not because I had made an impact. What do you want them to remember once your speech is over? By the way, sorry. This is why me. Can you read this? Can you read this? Is it the complete speech? What I did, I divided my speech into parts. Now, it's not important I share the speech with you. I'm not going to use it in a contest anyway, so I can share it with you. But just count the number of parts. So it says, why me? 0, then and then. What have I done here? Rupinder, you don't get to answer this. What do you see? You saw my video, didn't you? Yeah, so you keep quiet. So I think it's already out. I'll tell you what it is. This is the position on my stage. I will start my speech at 2. I'll walk across to 1. I'll walk across to 3. This is position 3. I'll tell my first story at 9, my second story at 8, and my third story at 7. And I will use this in the middle row, that is 4, 5, 6, to elaborate my stories. When I tell the first story, when I tell the story at 9, I will use the position 6. What relation does it have to the 10 parts? For each part, I divide and conquer, and for each part, I specified the position, the expression that I would have on my face, the action that I'm going to perform, and finally, how I'm going to transition. So from 2, I'm going to go to 1, and from 1, I'm going to go to 3, and from 3, I'm going to come to 9. Make sense? Everyone? You divide your stage. And why dividing your stage helps? I'll come to that in another part. Sometimes you have a very limited stage. Sometimes you'll have a stage like this, which is perfect. Sometimes you'll have a stage that starts 25 feet from this side and goes up to 25 feet on that side. Yep, the International World Championship stage. What to do then? I'll come back to that. For now, let's take a short break. About how many minutes? 10 minutes. I like to say let's take a 5-minute break, but let's not make it more than 10 minutes. Let's be back here by 10 minutes. In 10 minutes. So it is 12:21 by my clock. Let's be here by 12:31. Okay. So what I'll set the time on my yes, so that we all respect time. Okay, 10 minutes. Let's be back.
That you shared for the live, it would have been shared with the video or only with you.
We would prefer to much more virtual उनके लिए current people far from
Yeah, I just wanted to know.
नहीं किसी को भी करो यार not only Toastmasters, right? I'm just taking with a trainer.
Yeah.
It's open to everybody.
Professionals people.
No. So what her question is that can we open it to non-Toastmasters? Absolutely.
100%. But nothing to do with Toastmasters.
Guys, we'll be back in 10 minutes approximately. 12:31 is when we're going to back. So hang in there. We'll be back.
Have a cup of coffee.
बढ़िया बहुत बढ़िया ठीक है बोला